Welcome to another brave year. It is your boy Darren Green back up in this gig, child, one more time. It is 2024, the first podcast of the year. Okay, shout out, where my bomb at? Okay, let's get a bomb for the new year, honey. Like I said, it's gonna drop like an album. It is already doing its tings. Okay, first of all, how y'all doing, YouTube? How y'all doing, audio podcast listeners? That is Apple Podcast, Spotify. You know, anywhere you get your podcasts. How y'all doing? Thank you for listening. Thank you for continuing to support the show. Shout out to the people at We Are You Radio. Okay, you know, I gotta shout y'all out too, cause y'all definitely doing y'all thing, listening to the show and stuff, and getting into these topics, honey. Yeah. So the new year did kick off pretty interestingly. Okay, I had like a little vacation myself, child. I went to AC for New Year's with some cousins and friends and stuff like that. We just like went around the city. We went to like a casino. I don't know if y'all in the Jersey area, y'all know about Tropicana. We went there, get some drinks, honey, eat at a nice little restaurant, child. And we watched we did the countdown on the shore. Well, I wasn't in the shore, honey. Of course, we wasn't in that water. But the little boardwalk area we was where the steps are. Okay, looking at the ocean and watching the countdown and everything. It was like a cute little scene. I would definitely like to go back. I always go to AC when it's cold. Like, I only been to that city twice. The first time was when I was in 10th grade. The second time, obviously, this trip. But we went during the winter. And it was just cold. Like, it was just, I was young too, so I really didn't care about what the stuff was going on. I didn't drink at the time, obviously, child. We went to like Caesars, their resort or whatever. It was okay. I thought it was okay because, like I said, I think AC, almost like Vegas, it's like an adult type of city. But going as an adult, okay, it was kind of fun. We didn't gamble or anything like that. I don't do that stuff, child. But it was definitely a movie. Okay, it was a Kodak moment. Okay, I got to hang out with some friends, and I really did get to reflect too on the new year and really hone in, because after that I had like a 2-day break. Like they didn't want to put me in a schedule, child, but they want to kill me on the last couple of days of the first week, child. But I spent some time just to reflect and work on stuff. I'm, contacting different creators to potentially come on the show. Like I said, I'm not lying. I want to have more collaborations. We're going to start off with some guest co-hosts, because I don't know if I want to do I don't know if I'm the interview type. It's all about, asking a little questions or whatever. And then I want to have somebody I can have a conversation with. We talk about hot topics. I'll give you like a little interview in the beginning, because, if you got something to promote, whatever. But you gonna sit with me with these hot topics, child, because I feel like I just need another person. So I've been contacting people, and if anybody's interested, or anybody that might be interested in coming on the show, they got there's certain criterias though. Okay, we done elevated in that. Okay, we elevated. Okay, so we gotta have people that's on the same type time. So for my visual listeners, sorry to my audio listeners, I am wearing the merch. Okay, the Darren Green Show shirts. Okay. Hit that link in my bio, or if you're on YouTube, it should be right below the video. Okay, real cheap. Okay, come on now, you want to get? Come on, that's my only shameless plug. But yes, we have a lot of things coming up. I had a brand that actually sent me like something to do like an unboxing video on TikTok. Like, things is really moving and shaking here at the Darren Green universe. Okay. And I'm here for it. Okay. I'm manifesting success in this year, and I hope you guys are doing the same as well. Okay. Here's a list of things that we're going to get into today. Okay. We got to talk about Lil Boosie and how he doesn't want to take his daughters, or he stepped out of the Color Purple movie because it was so gay. Okay. We got to get into that. Then we also got to get into Dave Chappelle and his new comedy series, child. He is still punching down, okay, on the trans community, child. We'll get into that a little bit later. Then we'll talk about Katt Williams. Katt Williams, child. He broke the internet. No, he really did break the internet, though. And we'll get into that a little bit later. And then we also got to get into this damn person that attacked this judge. Girl, what is going on? All that and more coming up right now at the Darren Green Show. Okay, so the first topic I wanted to get into is none other than Lil Boosie. Now, for starters, before we get into this person, child, I did see The Color Purple, right? And it was just as I thought, a masterpiece. Okay. And I will have to say the acting is phenomenal. The singing was phenomenal as well. I think that there wasn't too much singing. Okay, now I'm a musical girly. Let's be very clear. I get into the musicals. Okay, I just seen Wicked last year. But I do think that sometimes the music it'd be too much music every second of the day. Okay. But I will say this was very, it didn't have too many songs. Like it had the songs, I'm guessing, from the Broadway musical, because I never seen Color Purple, the Broadway musical. But it kept a good ratio between the acting and the singing. Like it wasn't too much on that. I'd say the movie was solid. Okay, it definitely kept my attention. I would definitely watch this again and again and again and again, just like the old one, because I feel like it's like tradition to watch Color Purple. Like in our family, it is tradition. Okay, I know all the lines, child, and there was definitely some parts that got me misty, just like the first one. So they did a good job. But anyway, I don't want to talk about this film too much because I don't want to spoil it for you guys. Go watch it. Like always, it ain't right unless Boosie is dragging the community, child. Girl, I think that this is on brand for him. When it comes to Boosie, though, every time queer people get the spotlight on something, he always has something to say. He has to interject because there's something deep within him that he has a problem with. So he made this tweet talking about The Color Purple. He said that I had to walk out of The Color Purple. And 2 other couples walked out as well because I had my little girls with me, and it seemed like a rainbow love story, might I add. Good acting, but whoever wrote this script is pushing their narrative hard. As a parent, I will not let my little girls watch this. Now, I talked about this on TikTok, and I also talked about this on Instagram. It did a lot. When I tell you it did well, child, I was like, oh, child. But it was a lot of people in my comments, talking about like, oh, well, Boosie's right, and he has every right to, not have his children watch the Color Purple and all this good stuff. And, we got some comments that was in support of me, what I was saying, and, talking about their experiences when they watched the Color Purple. There was this one person, I don't want to single them out, so I'll just, but they said that when they went to see the movie themselves and they seen those parts where Celie was, lusting off of Suge, and they had a kissing scene or whatever. Oh my God, I'm sorry if I spoiled that. But look, we all know. Okay, we all know the story. Let's be very clear. Okay, so don't try to sit there and say, oh my God, you spoiled it. But at the end of the day, we know that Celie and Suge was a thing. And this person said that like the people in his theater like booed and was like, man, get out of here with that mess and this, that, and third. Like it was a real thing. Not for nothing. It's a lot of black straights that are very, very conservative when it comes to, their movies and how they're portrayed in media and stuff like that. And let me tell you something. Y'all need to understand that there is nuances to being black. Let's be very clear. Let's call a thing a thing. Okay. Not everybody is straight. Okay. And there is going to be stories in our community that shows these type of lifestyles. And y'all need to understand that. Now, my thing about Boosie though, right? My first thought, and that's what I said on my TikTok. Why is a kid present? Why is a kid present at this movie? Because let's be clear, and for people that was in my comments talk about something, well, I watched Color Purple when I was 5 years old. I memorized all the lines. You wasn't supposed to be watching that movie. That movie was graphic. Okay. Like I said, the context, it had context of DV, SA, just all types of stuff. Pedophilia. Okay, let's be very clear. Because Mr. sold or bought Celie when she was like 14 years old. So it's a lot of trauma. It's a lot of just messed up stuff that happened in that film. I don't see why any little girls or little anybody's, okay, for that matter, should be watching this film at all. It seemed like Boosie didn't really know what this was. I guess he thought that it was just going to be like, oh, black girls, doing a little musical, and it's going to be like, little conflict, not too much conflict. Like, come on. And like I said, I said I never seen this as a kid. I mean, I seen this growing up, like when I was in middle school and I had like a more matured mind, a little bit more mature mind than when I was a kid. But yeah, I mean, like, girl, who's bringing their children to see Color Purple? I'm questioning y'all. I'm questioning the parents. And my second point was when we got to the Suge and Celie parts, I mean, we had already done seen SA, DV. We seen Celie get sold at 14 to this grown man that's arguably 30. None of that stuff was like a deal breaker for you. It was only until we got this lukewarm scene between Suge and Celie that really like grinds your gears. I don't know. I mean, it's very weird to me. It's very weird. Very weird. But as I looked at it a little bit more and really get into the meat and potatoes of things, child, Boosie is Mr. Think about it. I mean, he paid grown women to have their way with his underage son. Okay, he had women come over his house and on his lives doing all types of debaucheries and all this other stuff while children is present. Okay, I mean, Boosie could have played Mr. Let's call a thing. You did a song back in the day talking about how there was two girl red bones kissing in the back seat. Don't stop. Keep going and relax me. Okay, that's your lines. You said that. You didn't have a problem with it then, but you got a problem with it now. People think that he's just like an idiot or something like that, which, partly could be true, right? But he knows how to start a conversation to make him relevant. Let's be very clear. It's now become, because it's always a thing now. Every time there's an artist that comes out that's queer, there's something goes viral and it has to do with a person that is queer, it's always met with Boosie giving his opinion. And then when somebody comes after him or, he gets the heat from it, then it becomes, oh, well, y'all, I can't say my opinion. My opinion. That's my opinion. That's my opinion. That's what I think. And then, as a parent, I feel like ain't nobody saying you can't have no opinion. You can say whatever you want. And we can say whatever we want too in response to what you said. Like, I don't think y'all know how free speech works. Okay. Just because you got free speech doesn't mean that everything you say is the end all be all. I let people rock in my comments because there was people on YouTube that was coming for me and, they weren't really dragging my take. Okay. They were dragging me and that's how I know I won the argument. But, I let people rock because that is free speech. Like you can say like whatever I say and you say in response, you have the right to say that response and I have my right to respond to your response and we can respond and keep it going. You get what I'm saying? That's how free speech works, honey. That's how free speech works. So for him to sit there and say, oh, well, in his little responses, and he's been going back and forth with different content creators. I know him and T.S. Madison are getting into it. He done went in Milan Christopher's DMs, calling him all types of slurs and stuff. Here's the thing. People are not going to agree with what you say, in your views, in your lifestyle, People brought up what I just brought up with you having these little dancers on your son and you having these women come at your house and do all types of freaky deaky things. I mean, you want to sit there and say, oh, well, my father was raised Baptist or he was a pastor or some crap. Nothing that you do in your life, Boosie, is of any of Christian value. And also to the people that's going back and forth with him, child, like I said, we should have left him in 2023. I think we need to leave him in January 2024. Let's be very clear. He's only listening to respond, and he's not a real person. He's not a person that has an original thought, okay? He's basically just a mouthpiece for all the hate that y'all see in the comments and different blogs and stuff like that saying, he ain't wrong, he ain't say no lies. You get what I'm saying? Like, he's basically, pandering to his quacky fans that, love to be pandered to and they just have this little connection that he has with his little fans or whatever. Like, he's not a real person. Like, I think he believes the stuff that he says, but like, really, he's doing this stuff for attention. This is what he wants. I mean, this is literally what he wants. And maybe me talking about this on my show is part of the problem too, because I'm giving light to it. But, I'm a reactive person, and that was a big topic this week, so I'm talking about it. But like, he's just like, he's a cog in the internet space. Like, that's just what he is. Like, he's not even making music no more. He said he makes most of his money on interviews. And I'm pretty sure Vlad TV and all them probably gonna get him for another interview. He probably gonna go on the Breakfast Club again, child, talking about them same tired behind. Nobody's gonna challenge him, right? And that's the thing. Nobody's gonna challenge him. but he's just going to continue to do his little run. This is his intro into his tour of doing interviews, lazy interviews at that. And people are just going to eat it up. You know, there's nothing more to say about this, right? So, girl, let's move on. Another person that I wanted to get into is none other than Dave Chappelle. So Dave Chappelle made it clear that he will be punching down even more, okay, on the trans community in his newest Netflix special, The Dreamer. Okay. I mean, literally, his first comic bit was him comparing trans people to the actor Jim Carrey trying to pretend to be somebody else. Like, that's the first joke. Okay. He got into a lot of things. I mean, he then talked about how he wasn't going to joke on the trans people no more because they thought that he needed them for jokes. He stopped joking about one marginalized group to joke about another marginalized group. He started coming for the paraplegic people, coming for handicapped people. I mean, and at the end of the day, in between the show, he did kind of talk about gay and trans people. And I thought it was kind of weird, too, how he kind of like mixed the two together, like the gay and trans, like they're the same thing. But, you know, that's here nor there. You know, I can't expect, you know, a straight person to understand that there's a difference, right? We're in communities, but it's different, right? My whole thing is, I don't need to tell you that this is on brand for him, right? He understands his conservative base and he's pandering to them. And that's just basically what it is. That's what his content has become. I was a big fan of him back in the day. Like, I felt like he was fair. I felt like it was fair because he talked about everybody. He ragged on everybody. Okay. And when you do that, it kind of is like, okay, well, now you can see that this is satirical. It doesn't seem like you're targeting, in which I'm feeling with his latest, you know, specials. He has been targeting this one specific community, like, to the max. I don't think that he takes it personal because it's just like, you know, I know what my fans want to hear. They want to see me rag on trans people, so I guess we got to rag on trans people. If there's a new group that comes out that he talks about and they don't like it, then and they want him to talk about, like, he's become, I don't want to say it, but a slave to his fans, child. He has a conservative listenership, so if he tries to make any type of content that is against what they believe in, then that's just not going to be good for his base. I did watch the special because I wanted to see what the hype was. Also didn't want people in the comments talk about something. You didn't even watch the whole thing. Like, like you taking it out of context. Y'all always in my comments talk about the context, but you don't ever want to explain the context. Okay. The context in question. Were there context present in the damn comment section? Absolutely not. Okay. I think that quiet as it's kept, I think it was entertaining. It definitely had parts that I thought was interesting. He got into the whole Oscar slap situation and how he, you know, talked to Chris Rock and understood both sides of the spectrum when it comes to Will and what's his name, and Chris Rock. He also talked about his own situation where he got attacked and how, you know, I thought that was entertaining. I thought it was funny. You know, he talked about his wife. He was ragging on his wife. And this is the Dave Chappelle that I kind of miss. Like, you ragged on everybody, okay? Now, there was a couple of LGBT jokes up in there, too. I mean, he talked about Lil Nas X as well, which was, you know, stupid. But, I mean, look, here's the thing. He really didn't come for the trans community like he did in previous specials. He really just used that as a placeholder and then talked about other stuff, which was interesting. I want to see how that's going to pan out, you know, in numbers, you know, being that you didn't really go too much in on the trans community, child, this time. So how the numbers gonna look now, child? We will definitely see. He definitely is a comedian that strays away from the whole political correctness route. Okay. We see that with other comedians and it really not work out for them. I do think comedians are in like a tough space when it comes to, and I don't know how anybody's gonna respond to this, but like when it comes to what they can say, what they can't say, because, you know, a lot of the legends in the comedian space, I'm talking about the black ones. I ain't messing with the white ones, child. You know, they said a lot of back in the day that they really cannot say. Again, there's not a lot that really do say much. That's why a lot of them don't really do stand up no more. A lot of them that are big now, they do movies. They do comedic movies and, you know, interviews, and they do podcasts now and get in, you know, like they get into that. I do think that there's a tough space and it's hard to, you know, be politically correct and also be entertaining. I understand that aspect and I do empathize with comedians in that way. But it's when you target. That's just always the problem with me. Like I didn't like those last two specials because you ragged on them. Like you ragged on the trans community. His show was interesting. Like it had parts in there that I kind of chuckled with, and it was cool. It was funny. It's just like the Dave Chappelle that I knew back in the day. But it's kind of hard to like laugh at the good stuff when you said some real messed up stuff in the past. I don't know. You gotta let it be, child. But that's all I gotta say about this topic, and we'll move on. So the comedian Katt Williams sat with Shannon Sharp on his show. I think it's called Club Shay Shay or whatever the thing is. They got into a lot of things, right? So what went viral and is just all over social media right now is Katt Williams basically dragging all the prominent black male comedians. And what I tell you, I was definitely glued. I was glued, honey. Now I didn't see the full interview. Like they've been putting out clips, like Shannon Sharp's his team or whatever have been putting out clips of different sections of the show. I definitely watched the clip, the 30-something minute clip of him just ragging on all the black male comedians. I mean, he was all over social media. Like when I tell you, I got so much stuff. Like for my visual listeners, y'all see, I just have a whole bunch of posts that I saved on the Katt Williams thing. Like he talked about Steve Harvey, Cedric the Entertainer, Kevin Hart, Faison, Ricky Smiley. He even talked about Ludacris and said that he was it's some type of Illuminati party where one of them had to cut off all their hair and the other one was able to get me. I was like, child, what is going on? What is happening? That interview got my entire life. Let's be very clear. It got my entire life. We already got a bunch of comedians that responded. We seen Cedric the Entertainer made his response. Now, what I found interesting though was after Cedric made his response, that's when we saw, because the story was, if y'all didn't know, Katt Williams said that Cedric stole a bit from him, and it was the part is one of Cedric's most iconic scenes in the Kings of Comedy, where he basically was driving like a spaceship or something like that. People shared the clip that Katt Williams did a long time ago before Cedric the Entertainer did. And it was very similar. I mean, almost identical. Right after Cedric made that response, he talked about it. And Cedric, he ain't know what the goddamn say, because he basically was saying, oh, well, no, I did this back in the 90s. And, Katt Williams, he was out in early 2000s. I'm like, we getting the timeline wrong. Okay. We see Michael Blackson made his response. Kevin Hart made his response too. I found that to be very funny because, he in his response, he basically told Katt that he gotta, let that hate go. And while he was saying that, he said he promoted his movie that's supposed to be on Netflix that nobody knows about. Kev, we ain't forget about what you said about that man. Okay, you said that man had a drug problem on The Breakfast Club. Look, he's just responding. You better be lucky that's all that he did was read your and not sue you for defamation. Okay, let's be very clear. Do I think that Katt could be a little bitter? Maybe that his career didn't take off how he wanted it to, or how he was wronged and whatever, and he's just become this bitter person? Sure, maybe yes. But did he lie? No, definitely not. He did not lie. I do not disbelieve a single thing he said. Because, I mean, look at it. Like I said, the internet does not lie. The internet was bringing out receipts. Like I said, we got the internet posting Cedric the Entertainer's clip, and then we seen Katt Williams clip. Similar. Then people dug up the whole Mark Curry interview where he said that Steve copied him. He talked about Steve. He said Steve basically stole this comedian's run and his whole idea to do a show, and how he had a man unit. Like, people even was looking back at the old pictures of Steve Harvey and said, yeah, no, that fade was a little bit too perfect, a little bit too caked on. That was a whole wig. I mean, look, let's be clear. I think that all the comedians that Katt probably talked about, they were proven to be frauds, overrated, among all sellouts. We got Kevin Hart. I mean, like, when you look at Kevin Hart's run, and people were noticing, they said, he had a run before he was ever even known. And I noticed that too. Like, Kevin Hart used to be in some flicks back in the day before we even knew who this man was. And I think that was the thing. Like, we didn't know who he was. He was really just a side character. First of all, he was a side character in his own goddamn movie. Okay, Soul Plane, which I would say one of the most iconic, black comedian films out there. Soul Plane was funny. I ain't gonna lie. That was a funny movie. Okay, he was the star of it. The star? We didn't even know you. No, I I'm starting to believe he could have been a plant. Like that's definitely on the table. Cedric the Entertainer not being funny, like he's written funny. He steals people's stuff. Same with Steve Harvey. I mean, these are mouthpieces. These aren't. I mean, and I never okay, Cedric the Entertainer, he was kind of funny. I ain't gonna lie, like he was. Steve Harvey was never funny to me. Okay, he was like radio funny. He was good on the radio. He's good, as a Family Feud host. Because when they write him funny, then he funny. But yeah, a lot of these people are sellouts and frauds, and they're overrated. And I think he really wanted to talk about it. He wanted to talk about how he was a person that created like authenticity in his work. Right? It was never about popularity. And I think a lot of the people that he was talking about, they got a lot of popularity, but not a lot of talent. And I think that's what he was trying to say in this interview. And that is kind of true. Let's be very clear. A lot of these people are popular. We haven't seen a decent Kevin Hart stand up in a minute. None of these comedians that we're talking about, they're not doing any stand up. Like they're not, it's like they done made it to the point where they can do other things, but they're just like, like I said, they're mouthpieces. I do feel bad for what he said about Ricky Smiley, because Ricky Smiley, he responded too, but it was he didn't go too in. Like he was, he said that his kids were kind of upset that Katt said that about him and all that stuff. Him, he can't play no man child. He can only play women. Like, look, okay, he definitely went too far with some people, but the people that need to be talked about, okay, he was spot on. Now, I found it also interesting that Shannon Sharp, wasn't able to keep up, child. You peeped how he was trying to defend him too. Like every time Katt would say something, Shannon would be on there. Well, hold on now. Hold on. I think you're doing too much drinking. Talk about we're not gonna let you drink no more. Like, bruh, if you don't get out of here, child, look how they try to discredit him. I think what happened is like he said in his little response, because Shannon made a response. I'm friends with a lot of these people that he talked about, so it was a weird situation, and that's why I said celebrities should never be in journalistic positions. I mean, I get it, they can do whatever they want, sure, but like it's just not good content. Because at the end of the day, this is my problem with these celebrity journalists. Y'all gotta understand that the people that y'all have in y'all platforms is probably gonna talk about your friends and your alliances, okay, and put your stuff in jeopardy, because that's just the game of that's just what it is. That's what journalism is. You don't make friends out here. You're making content. You're making stories, okay? You got to deliver the news, okay? Not saying that Shannon's show is nothing of journalistic, depiction on here. It's just him talking to a bunch of famous people, but like, you got to understand like that you're going to have people on that's going to talk about your friend, and you got to sit there and be the interview person. He said he couldn't get a word out. You're just unprofessional. Like you're used to people just, okay, you got the questions, you got the little things potted up. You have to take your show back. Okay. We've all been through that. People that do content creations and podcasts and have people on that kind of overpower the show, and you got to be like, hey, okay, hold on. I'm still the narrator here. I'm still the moderator. Okay, we got questions to get into. We don't want things to get derailed. But at the end of the day, Shannon, like your video went viral. You have like 3.3 million, and that's on the 2 hour interview. And then you have like little clips. Y'all had clips potted up, ready to be posted on YouTube. Y'all capitalize off this moment. Don't act like, oh my goodness, I was so shocked and appalled, and he was wound up before we even started taping. I wish we started taping during the time. I'm like, girl, next time Katt should go on a more sophisticated show. Okay, I would love. Now people were saying they want to see Katt and Monique get into some type of interview, conversational type thing. I think Katt Williams, I like Comedy Hype. Comedy Hype, I watch a lot of their videos, and their interviews are just spot on, and they do what they do. I'm not sure if Katt Williams wants to go, to the YouTube route. I mean, Shannon Sharp is on YouTube too, so whatever. But like, there's definitely some platforms that he can come on and they can have a real conversation, and not just, because he did fly off the handle. I ain't gonna lie. But we loved it. We loved it. He said what he had to say. The truth will set you free, child. All right. Now, anyway, let's move on. Now, this last topic I want to get into before I get out of here, child. Did y'all see that judge that got attacked by this man? Oh my goodness. Well, here's the thing. So the Clark County District Judge Mary K. Halthus was attacked in the courtroom on Wednesday while delivering a sentence for a 30-year-old Deborah Reedon. Now, according to a news source, Deborah was in court for his sentencing on a charge of attempted battery with substantial bodily harm. Now, his attorney requested probation for his client and even argued for a suspended sentence, reportedly citing previous complications of his probation programs, his mental health history, and his background, to which the judge denied it. She said, in quotes, "I appreciate that, but I think it's time that we get a taste of something else." The judge explained, "Because I just can't with that history." And then the man leaped over the bench and started whooping that judge, you know what, child. Now, they said that the marshal was reportedly injured. According to reports, Deborah was booked into a Clark County jail on new charges of battery and battery on a protected person. He is due to be in court next Thursday, child. Girl. This video is so funny, but it's not, though. At the same time, it's not, because I don't condone violence at all. I don't think that, people should be inflicting violence. But some of these judges be condescending. Okay, some of these judges, and I've been in the courtroom before. Okay, I didn't have to do nothing. Like, I was in attendance because it was a friend of mine. They had to go to court, jail. But I just noticed how the judge was just so like, ugh. Like, I would never want to, I hope, let me knock on wood, child. I hope I never have to experience that, because, like, I'm a person, I don't like disrespect, right? And if I'm giving you that respect, please let it reciprocate. I don't care who you are. I don't care what degrees you got or what certification or what stature you are in. Okay, no, them judges be condescending. But that doesn't mean you put your hands on them. Okay, that don't mean that you leap across benches. Okay, and when you see in the video, I'm sorry to the audio listeners, but the video listeners, like, you can see, like, the bailiff couldn't even get no hits in. I mean, and then they had this boy on the side with these light behind soft punches. Like, what is happening? Girl, that was some funny, you know what? Okay. Every time that video plays back, child leaping across that girl. But I don't know. That's all I had to say. That's all I had to say about this topic. It's not much to talk about. I will see y'all next week. Okay, with another set of topics, of course. And hope you enjoyed this episode, and you have a good one. All right, y'all. Bye.